So when I hit P, separate by selection, and I hit Tab, did it work? It looks like it may have, kind of, I don't know. Let's see what it looks like in solid. Yeah, it kind of looks like a box. I don't know, is that good enough for government work? Let's see if we're not in X-ray view. There's a box. There's a top of the box. Aha. All right, so I could then say in the tutorial, ooh, what happened to the side of it? Something's looking funky. But I should be able to say, if this works, oh, yucky. Something's weird with the lighting. I mean, it doesn't look weird when you look at it some directions, but in others it looks really weird. Like it lost something. I'm not sure what it lost. When we go into wireframe, I mean, it looks sort of okay. Maybe that's strange. And if we look at all the vertices in edit mode, well, we kind of able to move it over. I want to look at this sort of by itself here. And something funky happened down here in the corners. And if I go to edit mode, the vertices are kind of strange. Did it do something with the normals? Because this and this point there are not easily aligned with this point here. There's something weird in the geometry. Very strange in the geometry of this. It looks like the way to solve this problem is to add faces that didn't exist. So I'm clicking on a point here. I'm going to just get just that one point and shift clicking there and getting a point there. And let's see if this... So those 4 points, and then I'm hitting F and putting a face in there. Because without a face, it cannot calculate anything even beginning to resemble an object. Ooh, that didn't work. So what's wrong here? Oh, we have another point that was selected there. So now, yep, closing that box up. And then again, Control click, no, Shift click. And Shift click here and here. And then hit F. And there we should have a box. This face here, on the other hand, that was a mistake to put in. Let me see if I can delete that face. Yeah, but it doesn't have the hole. So I guess I'm going to have to do that Boolean thing again. And where did my top of that go? It's over here. So let me move this over here and do my Boolean trick again. And bring that up until this object that I want to do a Boolean with this object as the Boolean and apply it. And let's see, did I punch a... Oh, I didn't punch a hole in it at all. That's weird. So I've got this, and this maybe what I need to do is temporarily scale this so that it's in here to remove all that. And let's see if it works. So we take this, we add the modifier, the Boolean, tell it we want to use this as the Boolean, and then hit apply, and then we have a really funky looking thing, but it has a hole in it. But where did those artifacts come from? Strange, and we've lost our faces again. So when we go into edit mode and we look at this, we have to, yeah, I'll end up covering it up if I had that. Because if I come here and if I tell it I'm going to look at vertices only and say I need a vertex here and here and here and here, and if I make that a face by hitting F, then I have all this to contend with. And if I say to it then that I want to get rid of all of these vertices here and all these vertices here, and get rid of all these vertices here, still not done, am I? Then I've lost my Boolean completely. However, I still have a bit of a hole here, and maybe what I need to do once again is subdivide this. So I can take this face and select it, and then right click and go subdivide, 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 subdivide. Now take the object, take this and move it up where I wanted to move it. I don't have to do that from underneath here. Flip this over. See if we go underneath this. Maybe this will work. Let's find out. We will take this, add the modifier, go to the Boolean, select that, and then apply it, move this out of the way, and yes, I think we've finally got what we want. Alright, so let's go to our X-ray to sort of see the transparency. And now when we do our animation, we can show the cutting off of the lid, or at least we should be able to. So the box will be, we do need to put this back in its place. And scale it back down to the lid size, so that when we were to look at it in material preview, we would see this lid, and we can say when we do this, oh yeah, you need to cut this top off. But of course, we'd have to parent this. The idea of parenting is that when you move one object, the other, like a child, follows the parent. So if I say that this should be the parent of, and then right click, is it? No, shift click, and then go P, no, then go Control P, set parent to object. Then when I lift this up, oops, I did it backwards because now the lid lifts it off. So that's backwards. So let me undo that. I'll select this first and then select this, and now say, oops, I selected the lid, and then you select, so you select the child, then you select the parent, then you say set parent to the object, and now the child follows the lid, but the child can be also taken off. So that's the way to set a parent. The parent leads the child. And all right, so we know we can lop off that IBC. Let's now move that. Let's set this child here to shift this and then do Control P. And now when I move the IBC, everything moves with me. So I can move it wherever I want, and the lid and the top follow. But at the same time, I can take off the lid if I like, or I can take off the top and I can take off the lid, because the cap is parented to the lid, or the top part, which is in turn parented to the whole body. All right, so that lets me cut that one off, and that is the gas holder bottom. So I can do that animation. The next thing is to prepare this for cutting. Oh, where were you hanging out? In that case, who are you? All right, guess I have two and I don't need two. Who do I like better? I guess they're identical. Always good to have two. That's 001, and that's the gas holder top. All right. Now the lid, once again, should be parented to this because it stays on. Screencast keys let me down. All right, now put this over there. And it's too low, so move it up. And you can say, okay, you're the child. I select the child, then I select the parent, and then I say set parent to object, and that means that when I move this around, the lid goes with it, but I can always take off the lid in the animation independently. And you see that line there that follows around, that's the parenting line. That shows that it is, in fact, part of it. It's parented to it. All right, so that's the parenting line. Now, the other question was this cut out the right way? Yeah, that's fine. It's a hollow cube, which we can also see in the solid form with the transparency on. Now, this tank here, we will let people know gets rotated onto its side. So we'll go G and Y 90, and nothing happened. No, R, Y 90. Right? It's on its side like that, and then it gets cut when we do this such that this bottom side is lopped off, which is really the side. That's how we do this. And the way that we do it is we measure the tank so that it can float up and down inside here. So it is like this, and when it's like this, assuming that we made it correctly, there usually is just enough room, although here it doesn't show up because I haven't made the object long enough. I used a cube, and it's actually more of a rectangle because it's that slight amount that allows this one to slide up and down. And we'll have to deal with that in a second. So it's actually, I've made it wrong. So let me take my whole tank and my whole cage. Remember, basically I'm going to have to take this entire object. So I'm going to have to turn off or hide something here. I want all of this, and I want to scale all of this slightly in the X direction. S, X. It just has to be a tad like that, so that when we'll also do, well, you have to do them all now. They all need to be scaled slightly. So I think for the animation purposes, it's going to be okay to, let me rotate this back in Y90. Oops. Rotate Y90. Oops, not that. Rotate Y90 and rotate Y90. Alright. Let's fit this onto that and let's scale that in. And take this. Doesn't look like it's scaled. Yes, it did. Alright, take this and move it down. I need to move this one out. It's in the way. This one also has to be scaled now in X a little bit wider. So that that's the gas for the gas holder top. This one here. I mean, what's going to happen is that this is going to rotate in Y90, and this is going to come and it's going to fit inside here. And because it's slightly longer, it's supposed to fit going up and down inside. But that is not going to be obvious. And I think I'm going to have to make them different colors because otherwise I'll never know what is what. So let me make this one a slightly greenish color. And that did them all that way, so that's not good. Base color. The beige is supposed to be beige. Beige, beige, what is beige? There's beige. Kind of a beige. So what I should have done is for this particular one, which I'm going to be moving up and down, I need to get rid of beige and give it its own color, which should be, I'll add a color, and I'll make it slightly greenish. Then I can see it, and it's obviously not fitting inside of this other one. It's still not long enough. So we're back to bringing this down and changing our dimensions. Because in truth, the IBC tank, let me move this out of the way. Okay. Once again, let's scale this in X and try to stretch this whole thing out. And we've got to do the same thing with this. Rotate Y 90. Oops, nope. Rotate Y 270. This must be scaled the same way. Alright, so we scale this in X also. I think that the top I just didn't bring down low enough. Alright, but this thing here, now that it's scaled, the idea is that when it's rotated 90 degrees and when it is placed, if it's identical size like this, then there's a gap. That's the reality. That's what we see when we insert the tank. And that's what makes it work, because there's a gap on either side. However, it's too tall, and so what we do with this tank is we lop off one part of it. So I need to prepare that part for lopping off. That means that I need to go into the edit mode for this, and I need to do that same thing of cutting. But how do I do that cutting? I thought that the best way would be to use a loop cut, but the loop cut, maybe do a loop cut like this and then bring it down in Z to there, or to there. We actually do about that much of a cut. But then I have to bring this, get out of loop. Let's see what we have here. I need to bring this down to the exact same place. And it looks like I made some real mistakes when I did that loop cut. So don't do that. Because you see, no, actually that's okay. Bring it down to about here. And then bring this down to there. And then I've got to do the same thing all the way around. So if I can add a point, it's be easier to add a point over here. And then add a line, which would be connect vertex path, new edge face. All right. Do this and this, but not that. New edge face. And then this, and you need to get rid of that. Now this one here. This vertex along this line to this vertex. Right. So maybe I can now lop this part off. Ooh, no, don't want that. Let's see. Ah, that may work. That may indeed. Let's see. So here I would hit P and separate by selection. And then when I move this, ooh, it's almost okay, but it's missing some of the objects are weird. So as you can see, we're running into this face problem again. Yeah, missing faces. So the thing to do is to go into edit mode for here and see where the faces are. There is no face here, so when I click on it, nothing happens. These have no faces. Eyes without a face. So if I select that, I have to go to my vertices and tell it that this and this and this and this need, oops, not that, not that, control off. This and this, that, no, that's not right. It wasn't that, it's this. Oh, and this, and this. That needs a face. And then this here, this and this and this and this, that needs a face. But it didn't add a face, did it? Or did it? No, yes it did, okay. Got a face there, got a face there. Or did it add a face? It didn't add a face here. It did. It did there and there. It did not add a face here. So once again, you'd have to go to point mode and tell it you and you and you and you need to be a face. And as for the other side, there still seems to be a missing face, but we'll see. No, maybe not. Let's see. It's a bit funky, still missing some faces in there. Go to edit mode, say you and you, oops, you and you, you and you, and you and you. You need to have a face, and you, they do have faces, but that's the weird one there. That's the one that got messed up. So mesh modeling can get pretty funky at times. There needs to be a line between here and here created, new edge from there, and then when you it's a bit funky, but it might just work for our purposes. Although I'd really like to create a face between here and here and here and here, and then another one between here and here and here and here, and then another one between here and here and here and here, and between here and here and here and here. And that's a little bit, the geometry is a bit strange, but for that one there. But it might work for our purposes. Yeah, still, it looks enough like a box. I'm not going to belabor the point. This here is still a mess. And so in this one here, I just want to remove this. This shouldn't have been here, but that's funky and needs to go. Ooh, no, but it created a crazy thing there. Okay, I can't do that. So what can I do? Maybe this and this need to be removed. And then I can get rid of this and this. They get removed. Same thing over here. I get rid of that and that. And then they've got to join up where I create a little problem of confusion here. And here, those need to be joined. Although, no, it's not there and there. It's here and here needs to be joined up with a line. And then hopefully a face can be established here. And the same thing over here, this point and not this point. So I'm going to shift off of that, shift click this one and this one and this one. And I'm going to tell them to make a face. There. So what does this look like? It doesn't, oh, it looks kind of, it was okay for a bit. But again, all those other points in that mesh made it awkward. So let's see. So there's still some more faces that have to be rebuilt in this.